All right, hello, welcome back to another We've Been Different video. Today's video is just a weird one. I know I'm a little bit behind on this. Excuse me. I know I'm a little bit behind on this, but I just didn't expect this to happen, and I had to find the time to make it and legitimately talk about it. It's not going to be a long video, probably like around 8 minutes, but Adrian Griffin fired from Milwaukee Bucks as a head coach. They're 30-13, or at least at the time of this recording, they are 30-13. So what the hell? What went wrong? And from the very beginning, when Terry Stotts was there, if you guys aren't familiar, Terry Stotts was an assistant coach on this team, but he ended up quitting because he just didn't get along with Adrian Griffin. And at the time, I thought that's really weird. I was looking at some comments on that, trying to find out a little bit more out. Basically, Adrian Griffin is just trying to take control of the team, not trying to have anyone else meddle in. That's what I got from the comments that I read, but I'm not even too familiar. But with this, it's just like, okay, we have talked about it on several NBA videos before, but this team always looked like there was some chemistry issues and there was more that could be had. And they're still 30-13, but with the roster construction, it just looks like they're still not meshing as well as they could have. I've talked about it several times in several NBA videos. I'm sure a lot of the media has talked about it. So this is important stuff to highlight. Throughout the first months of Adrian Griffin's successful, albeit brief head coaching tenure, there was prevailing unease over the locker room and the games. He acknowledged it, once calling it a dark cloud after a tough home win over Chicago on November 13th. Just 10 games into the season, and the Bucks were 6-4. I do remember around the in-season tournament that they had like some sort of players-only meeting, or there was something surrounding the players where they had to hash it out and talk about their frustrations, to talk about what was working and what wasn't working. And to me, at that point, I was like a little confused, because there was reports about Bobby Portis calling out the coaching staff, saying they have to be better, and so does the coaching staff. Giannis was a big part in hiring Adrian Griffin. He did say at least reports are saying he did not want Nick Nurse, so they did go ahead and go with Adrian Griffin. Obviously, Nick Nurse is balling with the 76ers right now, doing his thing, leading them to a phenomenal season, led by a phenomenal MVP season from Joel Embiid. Now, I don't think he'll get it because I don't think he'll play the games that he needs to get it, but yeah, Nick Nurse is killing it over there. And over here, again, they're 30-13, but following a loss in Houston on January 6th, he said there was no pride defensively. Giannis said that on the court and added the team needed direction and clarity on what to do from the coaching staff. So that right there is obviously a red flag, something you don't like to see, especially from a team that is this talented and flat out this good still at 30-13. Another important comment here is multiple team sources told the Journal Sentinel throughout the first half of the season that the players never got to the point of full belief Griffin could lead them to a championship. In the end, the top levels of the organization believed this to be the case also. Griffin's technical savvy as an assistant coach, particularly on the defensive end, was seen as a strength when he was hired. Keyword, when he was hired. But his ability to reach players and form important relationships perhaps was his greatest attribute. And again, it's just ironic because it just seems like he couldn't reach these players in particular. Maybe he just can't do it as the lead man. It's super unorthodox to see something like this. You never see a team, again, winning this much, having to make this drastic of a change, especially when it's his first year. I mean, clearly lost the locker room, right? I mean, we can continue to read on this as much as we want, but clearly lost the locker room. And that leads me to the second part of the video here, is looking at who the Bucks hired. So to give you guys an idea of how wild it is that Doc Rivers is the coach now, this is the Milwaukee Bucks subreddit. It is their dedicated fans. And let's just take a look at some of the comments. Top comment, beating the Sixers with Doc at the helm would be hilarious at least. So you can already sense that there's not a whole lot of confidence. Yeah, this is one of the top comments on their subreddit. You could see, again, Doc Rivers, as much as success as he's had, again, I think a big part of it is himself taking accountability and not blaming the players. The thing with this Bucks team, though, is, yeah, there's not a whole lot of coaching candidates available at this point in the year. But also, what's important to take note of is this team, as good as they are, Doc Rivers has won a championship before. He had a great team to do it, and he has had good records. He has been able to put his team in a position to be at a good spot in the playoffs. The problem is once they're in the playoffs, he just hasn't had much success since that 2008 championship season, I believe. I believe it was 2008, but I'm not sure entirely what to expect from the Bucks at this point in time. Could they be a championship team? They're a contender for sure, but I don't know. Their defense is obviously really, really not good. Bringing Doc Rivers at this point in the season, is it enough time for them to get acclimated by the end of the season, end of the regular season? Because you can play good all you want throughout the season. If your end of the regular season is really rough, that does weigh in on you a lot for your playoff aspirations. Well, did it work for those people? No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us. Yeah, that's how people are feeling about the Doc Rivers hire. And again, this is their own subreddit. These are their own fans. This is not Reddit NBA where it's entirely third person perspective. No, these are the people in the shits hoping that these guys win. This is not a fun comment, I'm sure, for him to say, but it is hilarious to think about. At least the RDC video will be funny when we eventually lose in the second round. If you're not familiar with RDC, I'll show like a 10-second clip.
Somebody bring me the stats of MVP Joel Embiid. Thank you. All right, 38 minutes, 15 points, 5 of 18 from the field goal. No. I said bring me the stats of MVP Joel Embiid. Stop playing.
Those are his stats, sir.
What? No.
Yes.
The MVP Joel, these your stats?
Funny guys. And this is a weird time, man. Can't do anything about it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend that I've always believed in Doc Rivers. Again, I can't stress this enough. These are their own fans. So that's kind of the situation there. It's a little worrisome for sure, but you got what you got. At 30-13, the Milwaukee Bucks still have a good chance at being a top 2 seed in the playoffs. Everyone still expects that from them, but it is worrisome to see how things have gone. That locker room, while it must be different with Doc Rivers there, is it going to change from the past? Doc Rivers has had some really good talent. He's worked with some really good players. Is this team going to be different? Honestly, if he ever wanted a chance at it being different, this is his best bet because this is his most talented roster in a very, very long time. In terms of superstar power, Giannis and Dame, just insane. Chris Middleton, when healthy, is obviously a really good player. Brook Lopez is obviously already a good player, so they got the talent. Now, how will they follow through is going to be the question. I'm not entirely optimistic. Not even Bucks fans are optimistic, but I think we all are very curious to see how it's going to pan out. But let me know what you think. How do you think it's going to pan out? I appreciate you guys for watching. As always, this is Ollie Been Different. We've been different. And we out.